Hi, this is Raj from Sportscars. I wanted to do a quick video showing you the differences between, in terms of the physical difference between the 997 Gen 2 Targa 4S and the 991.1 onwards Targa models. So you've got here a big aesthetic difference, even though they've got the same model name, that being the Targa, which was developed very early on in the Porsche's history as a concept. And traditionally you would have convertibles such as this lovely 997 Gen 2 convertible here, which we've just sold this morning. So you would have basically a full open cockpit, cabin, whatever you want to call it. So you would have basically complete open air experience. What Porsche actually developed in light of basically the safety concerns around this kind of format of car in a rollover situation, they developed basically an aluminium rollover bar. So, and then they actually left the glass in the back as well, so you still had the open cockpit area, but you also had the safety. Now what they did in later cars such as this one here, they had actually pop-up rollover bars. So these bits actually in an accident will pop up and actually protect you from basically catching your head on the ground if the car was to roll over. But basically that Targa concept, Porsche persevered with it. So they had those aluminium rollover bars, which are much more like the 991 sort of setup. And I'll show you these roofs opening so you can see exactly what I mean. But this aluminium bar is a nod to the 60s, 70s style Targas with that big glass section there, and then this bit here will disappear. In the older cars you would actually remove this with 4 clips and put it in the front boot area, but in these Targas that one actually folds away all electronically. And the 997 Gen 2 is very different. It's actually much more like a panoramic roof system. So you've got a glass roof which folds into the cabin. So let me show you the 991 first, because this is what people see as being more true to the Targa concept of old. So I'll just open up this roof so you can see. So that section there lifts out of the way. This bar sort of opens up and has a hinged fabric roof mohair section which folds down into that section. And then what you're left with is the open cabin, but with the security of the structure behind you. That means it feels a lot more encompassed. And then you have a little wind deflector which pops up here, so it basically stops wind buffeting, but it feels like the more classic style of Targa. Whereas these Targas, which are also very popular because there wasn't very many ordered, there was about 138 in Targa 4S PDK form. But if I open this one up, which you can't do with the key, but actually with the key you get something that no other Targa that style doesn't have, which is a rear hatch. So here you've got the ability to access this area, which you can't access in that one directly. You can't even access in a coupe directly either, but you've got this whole section here which is accessible by this hatchback, which is a soft close system. But if I just open up the roof, then you'll see you actually still retain this lovely roof setup here, this roof bar here, but it's not as open as the other car. So if I open that up, so that's it fully open. It actually goes in and encroaches on the headroom for the rear passengers, but that's okay because you've got that styling feature and you've got that big opening there for the front 2 passengers. Still doesn't disrupt the lines of the car. And actually what you find is this body and chassis is the same as this convertible here. So you've got that body basically with a metal frame bolted onto it from front to back with that chrome accent down the side, which actually works really well with these turbo wheels here, these diamond cut chromed wheels. I think that is a really nice cohesive styling package. But that to me, that is its own unique Targa style versus this one here, which is more like the historic Targas you see that Porsche produced. And it makes it a unique model in the Porsche range, and also unique body structure. There's not many other cars in the world that have been produced with this kind of roof, especially with it being integrated and folding in that way that the Porsche does. Maybe you could suggest some others that have that kind of, I guess it's a T-bar setup in other cars. But which do you prefer, the 997 interpretation of the Targa? And this interpretation is actually very similar to the 996 and 993 as well, except I believe it was only the 997 that had this rear hatch. Which do you prefer, the sort of fixed side rail setup of the 997 era Targa, or the 991 era open format with the aluminium bar, which could actually come in sort of like a brushed black finish to make it, I guess, a bit more inconspicuous. I actually like it with the aluminium because I think it's much more in keeping with how they were when they were released early on in the Porsche 911 history. In terms of the practicality of that, in terms of complexity, this is a more complex structure, so I think this one could potentially be a bit more reliable. But however, that one tends to be less creaky from my experience. These ones can be a bit noisy, but we've got all the methods to lubricate all these up now, and I'm going to be doing a separate video on how to lubricate this whole system up so that you can keep it in good condition if you've got one of these. Well, I hope you've found this video insightful about Targa models in particular. I'm a great fan of them, and there are a lot of sort of Porsche followers who love these when the sun's out. You can have that sort of open air experience, but yet it's still more practical in the winter as well than a convertible is. But having said that, the convertible Porsches are also very, very good as long as you keep the hoods clean. But which do you prefer in terms of format of an open air experience Porsche? Please do like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.